Hello, and welcome back. Let me just do a sound check here first to make sure we have everything right. Connect everything back to my mic. So, seems like we got sound. Yep. Okay. So, next up is getting this project running. First of all, welcome to the channel. And for folks who have been here following me along this week, thanks for coming back. Hey, Nuno. Hope all's going well. Hope family's doing okay. And that you're enjoying your day off. Because today is a day off. Don't worry about spelling. What do we say we're going to do today? So at the end of the last stream, let me kill this. Just want to confirm you guys can still hear me because I have a little bit of an echo here. So Nuno, just give me a nod if you can still hear me. That'd be helpful. Okay, I'm going to assume that everything's fine with the audio and that there's no problems, and we're going to try to get rolling here. So new terminal window. The application started again. Today we are going to work on, so as I was saying at the end of the last session, I mentioned I was going to try to add a couple of more features welcome Sammy. Welcome to the channel. I said I was going to try to add a few more features to kind of clean up the app. The whole thing I'm really trying to push here is to me, in my opinion, the kind of hurdle to get into Vue, in my opinion, is less complex than to get into definitely less than Angular, and so about React. But the thing is that you can make professional looking apps pretty well using the flexibility, the power, and the efficiency of Ionic framework with Capacitor. So we're trying to cover a little bit of Vue, but also just showing you how to integrate Capacitor at the exact same time and cover some concepts from Vue that I think are helpful. Where we ended up yesterday was we had the application going where we can add objects. We integrated the Ionic modal, so we can add objects to the modal. We integrated the Ionic toast, which you just saw appear at the bottom here from when I canceled. We added the ability to delete an object, and then we integrated the alert object in here, so you can get that professional looking thing with the cancel, but then also on the delete, you get the toast on the delete. And what else did we show? We really just showed a lot of the Ionic components. So today what we're going to do is we're going to integrate another Ionic component is, hold on, because I'm just getting social feedback too from YouTube. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to integrate let me get my list out here. We're going to integrate slide to delete. So we're going to remove the delete button, add a slide to delete in there so people can understand how to use that. And then we are going to, because right now when you click on the object, where did that go? And when you click on the object, it takes you to a detail page. We're going to clean up this detail page a little bit, and then we're going to add an edit button on the detail page, which will allow you to kind of edit the object. And then the last thing we do is I'm going to kind of walk you through a standard, I don't know if I would say standard, but it's basically a service file that I've created that I use to jumpstart most of my Firebase applications, and we'll kind of integrate this thing into Firebase. We will replace I think it's message TS. Yes, we'll replace this message TS file here. So instead of saving all the data to this array here, we'll save it to a Firebase database, and we'll add the basic CRUD functionality to the service so that you can add, delete, update, and remove these objects. As usual, the source code will get posted to GitHub. Hopefully you guys got the links from the last two videos and the source code. I took the suggestion that I had from that previous gentleman I forget his name, who asked me to just create a separate commit for each one of the videos, but instead of creating a separate commit, let me go to my YouTube to just, not my GitHub to just kind of walk you through what I did. Git. So I'll zoom this in a bit so we all can see. I created this project, Vue Livestream 1. And then as part of the project here, what I have done is I specified the video specifically. I got to clean this up a little bit. It didn't come out the way that I wanted it to come out. Well, let's fix that now that I'm here. See part 1 video. Let's move this down here. And let's move this down here. This is the same here. Same here. So what we've done is we have, yeah, looks good, let's commit. In the GitHub repo, have the links to each one of the videos, and then we have the source code. It's tagged. So the end of video 1 is part 1, the end of video 2 is part 2, and then we'll add part 3 on here, and we'll have the link to the video, and then we'll have the link to the tag for the source code. So you can get the complete source code that goes along with the video content. So now that I think we've covered all of the housekeeping. Oh, no, we didn't cover all the housekeeping. I gotta do the pit. IonItemVueBook. Gotta do the housekeeping to once again encourage you guys to check out my book and give me some feedback on it. Specifically around pricing. So far, I have a couple of thousand followers across all my social media platforms. I've only gotten 15 people to kind of give me their feedback on what they think the book should be priced at. So I encourage anybody listening to this video or watching it to go to leanpub.com/ionic-vue-sqlite-crud and give me your feedback. Also, the links at the bottom of the video here, I believe it's down here. Let me do it's over here. No, it's over here. Yeah, that's what we do. It's over here. Or IonicVueBook.com will work also. Give me your feedback on the book. And do I got, oh yes, I got one other thing which I started playing with yesterday, which is this guy. What is it? This guy. So I'm going to take a bunch of the content that I have created already. I'm going to roll it all up and package it into a course on Udemy. The idea here really, I'm so-so on Udemy, but am I even saying it right? Udemy? Yeah, I guess Udemy. But there's just a bazillion people that search this platform every day looking for content. So if nothing else, it'll just give me exposure for some of the other content I've created. I will be covering a lot of similar things that we are covering here, except you'll have videos, you'll have text, you'll have source code along the way, and a little bit more content. I have the outline laid out here of the topics that will be covered. It's like really important things that I think kind of give you a firm foundation to get you started working in the Ionic space with your applications. And so this is another project that I have going on along with my book. So now that I'm done doing all the sales stuff, and let me get the timestamp on the sales so I can make sure people want to avoid it, can avoid it. So you spent about 9 minutes on sale. Okay, now let's get back to the coding. Okay. Let me make sure there's no comments we have coming in here. All right, good. As folks who are used to watching any of my videos, I have no shame in copying. So I don't believe there's any need to try to memorize things. We want to add the slide, IonSlide. So let's just go to the Ionic documentation. You gotta always be sure that you're looking at the view. I don't want IonSlides. I want, what is that? It's not a slide. It is options. It's a sliding item. There we go. So this swipe joint is what we're going to use. We have our view. Pretty much, it's pretty straightforward. You wrap the whole object in this IonItemSliding. You then specify what the options are, then the item, and then you wrap the guy. So we want our stuff to appear at the end. So we're going to do this IonItems option slide end, and then we're just going to put delete on the end there so we can get the swipe for the delete. So let's get the doc out of here and get to the coding. So we're in our view message. I believe, let's see. Where did I put my delete button? No, that's not right. Am I in the right project? Yes, I'm in the right project. So app view, no, message view, home view. This guy, I think. Hold on, let me pop the chat out so I can see if people are asking questions. Pop out chat. Okay, so I got my chat popped out. And now I should be able to kind of get this other thing out of the way. Alrighty. So we need to go inside. I never tried this before. Can I wrap this? No. So we need to go inside this message list item, which if I was doing more on refactoring, I would kind of refactor out the actual item out of this list. So I leave this at the top level, but I'd kind of wrap out, extract this out because it's this component is getting pretty complex. So ideally, I'd have a message list object, and then inside of that, I'd have a message item object, or not object, component. So let's start with the item sliding. And as we've learned last time, you've always got to import this stuff, IonItem sliding. And I'm doing it backwards too. Let's do it with the import first, because the import will let us know. We'll get the type ahead from IntelliSense. So IonItemSliding, IonItem option, and then IonItem options. Then let's just copy all three of these guys. Let's bring them down here. Add them to the components, save, format, and now let's solve our problem. So we are going to come in here, and like I said, you need to wrap. I had this, I just did this before. So I have my list, I think. So what we need to do is we need to wrap this whole guy. So let's take this and just duplicate it for now. Item sliding, and then this is IonItem sliding. This, we don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this. Okay. Okay, so now basically what I've done is I've wrapped, hey Todd, welcome. I've wrapped the whole item with this IonItem sliding. I don't need this VF message here anymore. Keep it down there. And then since, like I said, we want our sliding to appear at the end. Once again, there's no need to try to remember all this stuff. Let's just copy it straight from the doc. So we copy that from the documentation. And then we come down here to the end outside of the item. So that's how the doc is. It's outside of the item. You paste in what you want. We basically want this. Let's delete this. We basically just want to put our button in there. So we're going to take the code that we already have for our button, and we're going to drop it. See if this will work. We're going to drop it inside of our sliding item. Let's see what we got. Is it going to slide for me? Let's do a hard reload. All right, there we go. We got a little ion item sliding. Not very pretty, so we'll kind of clean up the style on that a little bit. Let's get this back over here where it belongs. I don't believe I need the div anymore. So I don't believe... I think I can just get away with doing this. Let's move this click up to here. Let's change this to an ion icon. And then I believe it is icon trash bin. And so if we have the icon trash bin, let's add the, oh, you gotta, apologies, gotta do your thing, right? So let me hop onto my Twitter here and say, let's just kind of put this out here. Let folks know we're live now. Live now. Ionic VueJS. Sweet. Okay. Back to go. So what do we got now? Click the button out because you don't need the button. What we're going to do is we're going to import, I don't need my button anymore. Let's move button. We already have the icon here, so I think it is trash bin. Since I need it in my template, I need to return it here. Same way they return this icon. So we come down here in data and return the trash bin. So now I should get my trash bin in my options. Let's put some comment in there. Options. Make it easy to find this code later. What's it complaining about? I didn't import ion icon. Once again, let's add it on the icon here. Ion, IC. O-N. Oh, I-O-N. Oh, it's already there. My bad. So if it's already imported. What's it complaining about? Oh, I don't have the end. There we go. Let's see what we get now. And we get that guy, but he's a little small. So let's do this. Let's change the color. We got a little delete, and then I think let's see if I do this, if I can get it to be a little bit bigger. I think I can do. I played like this before to try to get the right size that I'm looking for. So you can do this. You can just do a style. And then what I've done is zoom. And then you could, I think that's what I did. There's a way you can zoom this guy. Well, let's see what we got. Yeah. So you can just zoom it to get a little bit bigger. So that's all I've done here. Just put a zoom on my icon. It gives you a little bit bigger target of something that you can click on. And now let's see if it'll just work, if that's all I needed to do. Well, it looks like it is. Well, I forgot the other problem. You have to close the sliding. So that's going to get me to show. If I say cancel, you see it didn't close that. So this gives me an opportunity to talk about using refs. So I think the way to solve this problem is So we're going to put a ref on this guy. Do I want to put it on this guy? No. We're going to put it on... Why is this working? Why is this working? Message item. If I go back to my home view. All right, so I wanted to just be able to close all of them, but it looks like I can't. So what we're going to do is... So you guys saw the issue. The issue is that once this guy is slid open and I take an action, it's not closing by itself. So everything's, if I actually delete the item, it's okay because you won't see that it's left open. But if I hit cancel, you see that it is left open. And so you need to address that issue. And so to address that issue, there's a way to kind of close the open item. And right here, just close. And you can also close it from the top level from the list. But since the list is all the way, actually I have to close it from the top because I have no other way to know. Let's see. The problem is I don't believe, yeah, I gotta close it from the top here, which is kind of confusing, but I think it's the best solution. So I just kind of spoke out loud, so let me kind of explain what's going on. So you saw the problem of if I slide this guy open, let me get back. If I slide this guy open and I say I want to delete it, and then I say I don't want to delete it, I need to close it. You can close on each specific item, but the catch... Yeah, let's close on the specific item since I have to close. I normally close at the top level at the list, but here I'll close on the specific item. So to call this method, you need to actually use refs. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into this message list item. This is the item sliding. We're going to add a ref for it. Ref equals, I think it's got to be like this. Let's just call it the item. And then to, which way are we doing this? Ops method, delete. So now that I put that ref on there, if I am correct, what should happen is here before this delete, I need to get my refs. So this, well here, let's drop in a debugger so we can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's open my DevTools. We have our DevTools open. Let's bring this up. Oh, what's it complaining about? The property that item was rendered. Oh, I didn't define my ref. So that's what it's complaining about. Now I gotta remember how to define refs in the old way because I'm used to doing this with the setups. So give me a second here. Let me just Google this like everyone else. Vue3, VueJS.org. Click here for Vue3 documentation. I usually code using the composition method, and with the composition method, you define your refs. You define your refs using the differently than you do the old school way. So the old school way here, I guess this is how I define my ref. So that's how I define my ref. I think I need to do it down here also. So is that correct? Let's see. This is, what's it called? My item. I think I'm doing this wrong. item was accessed during render but is not defined on the instance. It's defined right here on this instance. So why is this complaining? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm jammed up here because, like I said, I don't normally do refs with the options approach. I normally do it with the setup. So now I'm gonna have to look in here and see. I don't think it should be this hard. I think I'm making it harder than it needs to be. Take an inner value, ref, const ref. All right, give me a second here. Give me a second here to get grounded again. So it's saying that it doesn't like this approach. Oh, let me close this, my bad. Ref, there's my ref defined. There's my ref defined here. And that gives me, I think I know it. Let's do this. Not bad. I think that's what I wanted to do. Let's see. Actually, let's just make this bigger. We all can see. I need my console. Why don't I have my refs defined? So where I'm in source. Oh, let's do it this way. This object refs. So there's the ref that I need. And here you can see are all the methods that are on it. So actually I need this element. And then once I get to the element, you can see I have my IonItemSliding, which is what I want. And then on here, there should be A, B, C, A, H, I. Here I can call this close method on here. So now that I have now that I can get access to the ref, where is it? So it is, and this is something that's tricky that people get caught up on. So it's this dot question mark refs dot the item dot, you have to say, I believe, dot el dot close. What was it called? I lose my Ionic documentation. Dot close, yes. And it's a promise. So this is how you actually call the method to close it. Sorry for the distraction on figuring out refs. Like I said, I usually use the newer approach. So now here inside of delete, I'm going to close the guy. This dot refs dot item object is type of known. This dot ref dot close. This dot refs dot the item dot element dot close will close this box before it fires off the event. So let's see if this all works. Okay, what is it complaining about? Object is of type unknown. Do I need like a okay. Why is it complaining about this? This is thought refs that I know this should. Does of type unknown. I don't know. So let's try this. This is the joy of TypeScript now that I'm dealing with. Let me get it working and then see if I can explain it away. So, see how it closed the box? That's the behavior we're looking for. But this guy actually returns a promise. So we got to put the async in front of it. The async. I'm going to put a note to myself. Why do I need to wrap this? And then when I figure out exactly why I need to wrap it, I will update the application to explain why I need to wrap it. But just to kind of, two really important things to remember here. When you're using references with Vue and Ionic, you have to get down to the .el. You can't just say .close, which is what the documentation and other, and what you do in React. You have to get the object, the element. And so that's how you get this to work. So just to kind of recap on what we did, we put a ref on the whole IonItemSliding. We use that, let's delete that. We use that ref. Where are we? We use that ref to call this close function, and this close function was documented here inside of the IonItemSliding. Where is it? IonItemSliding. You can close the method. You can call the close method. So this will close a specific item. This closed open will close all of the sliding items in the list. So that's what we got here. So we'll put some of this stuff back the way it was. I don't want to close this because it looks like I've been doing a lot of referencing my documentation. So we have that working. Okay. Let me see what was in my list for the other things that I wanted to accomplish today. I think we need to hop to the Firebase pretty quickly because that's what we said we were going to do. So all right, let's hop to Firebase. You want anything else I want to do on this slide to delete, cancel works, slide, delete, yes, delete message update. All right, so that does what it's supposed to do. Let's hop to the Firebase. Like I said, to kind of save you guys some time, I'm just going to show you a pattern that I use to work with Firebase that you should be able to kind of extrapolate out into your own solutions to work with Firebase. First things first, why am I running multiple nodes down here? Okay, so npm. Just to let you guys know, also, I have to save us the Firebase setup time, the project setup, and kind of trying to hide my project keys and codes in the middle of the video. I'm just going to use an existing Firebase project that I have. I have relaxed all rules so that I can read and write to this. I don't recommend you do this in production, but that's what I've done to kind of get us through this demo. And the other thing that I have done is I have created this .env file, which I won't open because if I open it up, it'll show you what my variables are. But the way that we're going to use the .env file is this is where I have all my Firebase keys stored. And to get us started, let's start to modify get messages to integrate Firebase directly into this messages.ts. And so, excuse me, like I said, I'm just going to follow a pattern that I used before. So I'm going to cut and paste some code. as we, oh, I'm glad, Sammy, because yeah, refs get kind of confusing for folks. And I think the important part really, like I said, if I just go back to this, if you remember nothing else from it, is remember that you need to actually get the element. Because what I see a lot of people do is they just try to just make this work and they get it undefined and they kind of scratch their head and they look at the documentation. Because if you notice, nowhere in the documentation here does it tell you need to do that. And so it's important to remember that's a critical step to get it to work. Okay, so back to the Firebase. So for those of us who've used Firebase before, you've got to import a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll just start with the Firebase imports. So importing Firestore, Firebase storage, and just the overall Firebase app to get the default imports in. The next thing that we need to do is we need to initialize our database. And so here's how I initialize my database. And this is what I was talking about. So inside this .env file, yeah, Claudio, I do like VueFire, but basically what I've found is maybe in the VueFire 3 it'll be more interesting. But what I'm hoping is that there's a more compelling reason to utilize it. I mean, I found using the pattern that I've created, when I just use it over and over again, it's something that I wrote, I understand it. And so I haven't really seen the benefit yet of integrating VueFire. I think what might be interesting is to see because I think they have like VueFire integrated with Vuex, which might be an interesting library to check out. But then they need to get Vue tools working with Vuex. And right now the Vue tools don't work with Vuex. So the power of Vuex is kind of lost on me at this point. Okay, so this is how I get my IDs in. And then the cool thing is I should now be able to just refresh this guy. It's probably going to complain. Is it going to complain? Because I don't have, because I'm not using, yeah, I think the build, see, my build died because I didn't use this variable. Let's get back to my build. Okay, it looks like my build is fine. I've messages, save. The other thing that I do is I like to create constants around the variables. Yeah, Angular. Yeah, when I first started coding, I use AngularFire all the time. Honestly, I don't use AngularFire that much anymore for the exact same reason. I mean, at my company, we write with Firebase so much and so often that we've kind of wrapped our own solutions to manage Firebase. That, like I said, the incremental value of using AngularFire just doesn't seem to be worth it anymore. So what I do is I create constants for my collections up at the top here also. So I believe I set it up as, let me see what I set it up as in my notes. There's my notes. Message collection is what I called my collection. So now whenever I need a message collection, it's already set up. I don't need to go through this process of getting Firebase, getting the database, and then passing it to string for the collection. Since I know that most of the work I'm doing is going to be with this collection, I just create that constant up front. And then we already have this messages refs, but what we're going to do is, since we're going to only be pulling them from the database, we can kind of empty this guy out. Right? So we're going to delete this guy. And take everything out of it because we're only going to be using values that we get back from Firebase. And so we're going to say this is empty array. And then, so now we got nothing in here. And then the next thing we do is, so this is what I was talking about before, how I've just kind of created my own helper functions. So one of the helper functions that let me add some other variables that we keep track of here. So the other thing, so this is the data to display. And then I keep track of errors, any errors that are generated when I'm loading. Am I loading? And then progress. This is for uploading images if I get to that today. Uploading. And so what'll happen is, as I mentioned earlier, because these are refs, they're reactive. So as I execute the query and load my collection into messages, this list will automatically get updated. As soon as I set an error here, if I have a UI element up here that renders the error, as soon as I set the value here, it will automatically happen. Updating references causes the view or the template that's utilizing the reference to re-render. And so it kind of gives you that reactivity that you're looking for. And so that's why I set these variables up here inside of this component. So that's what we got there. So let's start with the first one, and the way that I normally handle it for this type of project is you have access to the on-mounted. And so what I do is when I am, did I set my function up correctly? No. We have get messages here. And so this is the function that returns all the messages for you at the start of the application. Let's see, do I return messages? Get message, add message. Let's do add message first. Okay, so, and I'm going to come down to the bottom here and I'm going to put, I'm going to keep the Firebase stuff separate. So what I have in Firebase, I have this helper function. I'll get collections data. And you just pass it a collection and then it returns you the object with everything. And just kind of to walk you through what's happening here. This is the loading flag that I set to let you know if we're in the middle of loading something. You pass in the collection. So here I'm getting the collection, which is a query snapshot. And then I just loop through the objects that I get back. I destructure the data to get all the properties that existed in that object. And then I set the specific ID using the ID that came back from the doc. On success, I set my loading to false and I return the results. Since we're doing asynchronous, async at await, if an error happens, this await will throw an exception, which is why this is wrapped in a try catch. I catch the error here. I set my error reference. So if anybody's listening, they'll get the error. And then I set my loading to false. So now that I have this get data collection function here, I should be able to go into my messages. And I should be able to just do this. Say get data collection and just pass it message collection. And this guy, oh, let me move my Firebase stuff to the top, my bad. Put the Firebase stuff up top. Okay. So, where did I just go? Where did my get messages go? Get data collections there. Where did my code go? Why did I do? I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do get data collection. Since I did it, let's put it in. First of all, this needs to be async because I need to do an await inside of here. Get message infos, that's not used, so that's not used, it doesn't belong there. So this actually will go here. Okay, let's see, did we actually, and then let's dump it. See, is this actually working? Console log. Value. Why am I? So I got no messages back. So there's no messages in there yet. So that's what get message is doing. I really wanted to do the add message. So let me move over my add message helper function. So the way that I do that is I have this function here. It's called write collection data. You pass it a collection and you pass it a key value pair of the objects that you want to add to that collection. As you can see, this will always set the data. There's no ID, so this one's used specifically for adding objects. I think I have and save. Yeah, this one's used specifically for adding objects. I probably need to add one for updating objects. But for now, this is just what we have for adding the object. We write collection doc. These are using the Firebase functions. You get a collection. If you ask for a collection with the collection document and you don't pass it an ID, it's going to generate an ID for you. And then it's going to take the data that gets passed in, destructure the data, and then I'm saying merge it. So it's just going, it's going to merge the data that's passed in into that document. So it's important that you put the merge. So if you take the merge out, basically any values that are not found inside a data will get that already exist on a document will get deleted. So that's what this is doing. And then it's following the same pattern of when I come in, I set my loading. When I'm finished, I set it to false, and then I return true for success. If an exception's thrown, it falls. I catch the error and set the errors. So now inside of our add message, all we need to do here is we should just be able to say write collection doc. It needs 2 arguments. It needs a collection and it needs the data. And so the data that we're going to use is message info. And then it should just return a true or false. And we're actually just, since this is asynchronous, we're just going to return this result. And that should be all it takes to add a message. And so let's see what happens. I need to do one other thing. Because I'm not, I know a lot of people use the real-time part of Firebase. I didn't integrate the real-time when I'm doing my get messages. If you look at where I'm getting my messages, I'm not listening for change. Am I listening for changes? I don't think I'm listening for changes here. So what will happen is, well, let's just see. Let's add an object and see if it gets added. From Aaron, subject testing, Firebase, date, test body. So it got my objects, because there they are. So that's the object that I added. Why is it not showing up in my list? Why is it not showing up in my list? Hold on. Home view. This page. Get messages. Let's try this. Let's do this. What we're going to do is we're just going to return. We're going to return the messages, this reference up top here. Where did it go? We're just going to return this guy so I can get it directly at the top. So same way we're exporting get messages, we're going to do this. And then I can come into my home component and I can just say messages. So that gives me the actual messages. And then I don't believe I need this anymore. I guess I do. This gonna work? All right, yeah, there you go. So now I'm getting my data. Now the question that I want to see is if I add one, will it update it from 2? See, it didn't add that because I'm not listening to the, oh, that's what we can do with that guy. Maybe we'll use that. So they put the pull to refresh in. Let's give it a go. See if it actually does work. Where is this guy? Console log alert data. I just saw it. Refresh. Okay. So when they call refresh, let's just do this. I think I need to do like a on complete or something. EVT. Let's see. Um, looks like I don't need to do anything. So on refresh, we want to get messages. Let's see if that works. Yeah. So you see on the refresh, it pulled and I got the message. But I think I need to cancel this, don't I? Yeah, I think that's what's wrong. I think I need to cancel this pull to refresh. Hold on. Yeah, I got to call complete on it. So let me get messages and then call complete. Also, what's it complaining about? It might be null, so let's set this guy to do null. This is the pain of TypeScript. So we can avoid the TypeScript today. Let's just, I'm going to kind of take another cop out as any. Why is this not? All right. So that should address that issue. So let's refresh everything. Why is it not loading my data at startup? So, oh well, let's refresh this. First off, so you can see that the pull to refresh is working. It pulled the data. But what we want to do is we want this guy at startup to load the data. So what we're also going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to do one of the lifecycle events. And one of the lifecycle events is on mounted. So we're basically going to say that this is the TypeScript. I mean, this is the composition method, which we're not doing. We're doing kind of the regular method. And so in the regular method, all we need to do here, and we're going to set this to async. We're just going to call our get messages function. And this really should have made it. So you can see now at startup, it's calling get message. What? Where is it? Unmounted. Get messages. And then let's try this. Okay, why is this not working? Get messages sets the message value. Oh, it seems like it's, oh. So get messages, async, gets my data collection. I think this is, returns the results, take the results, set the value. So messages.value should be set. So why is it not calling my function? Hold on. Did I not put mounted in the right place? Async mount. Sorry, it's not on mounted, it's mounted. My bad. It's mounted. There you go. So on mounted, it calls my async function, gets the messages, and then we have all the messages set here. We're assigning the messages for display, and then they show up. Let's rename this. To make it clear. And then in our list, we want to make sure that we're doing the display messages. So display messages is our kind of component based. What? Oh, because my display messages. This is where TypeScript starts to get annoying. Why is it complaining? So here's what's happening now. Right, that should be fine. That should be fine. What's it complaining about? Reference error. Reference not defined. Display messages. It's right there. Display messages is being used. Let's set display messages. I just want display messages here for it to be reactive, because you need to exist inside of the data section to be considered reactive. And so that's why it's here. But display messages is, so let's kind of walk through what we did. When a component is mounted, we call our Firebase service and we get all the messages. The Firebase service keeps track of all the messages for us. So what we do is now, this is the value coming from the Firebase service. We assign our local variable to this value. So then now we get all the messages, which is kind of interesting that it's unwrapping that. Now, so we set the display messages here. So now the display messages is then used in our UI. No overload match is called display messages. Now, it's just once again my editor complaining. Because how I defined this object here, this is the joys of TypeScript again. Because I define this as a string, it's complaining about it up there. But if I define this as an array, and since initially the array is empty, well, actually, let me see if I can just do this. Will that make everybody happy? See, but then this guy's complaining because it's saying it doesn't know what a parameter of ID is. And so now I'm getting this type error. So these are just the challenges that you get when you start to integrate TypeScript. And so that is why I'm just going to, for the purpose of this example, I am going to ignore this VueJS error that's coming up and just kind of move on. So we have our list. We still have this kind of delete guy here, so we got to figure out how we're going to make the delete work. So let's go back into our where do we put our messages function? So we have our get message, we have our add message. We still need to do a get message by ID and our delete. But let's do our delete first. And then I think I'm going to wrap it there because we've been going for about, how long have we been going for? Where's my time? Yeah, we've been going for about an hour. So this next 30 minutes, I'll probably wrap it at the end of that. So let's see. We need to delete an object. So I have this other helper function. We'll drop in here underneath my collections. So we have the get data collection. We have a write collection document. And then here we have a remove collection document. Works the same way as add. You pass it the collection and you give it the ID of the object you want deleted. Then we call a Firebase function on the collection. We get the document, we delete the document, and then we set the appropriate loading and error values. So now that we have our remove collection document, we can go down to our delete message. We are past the ID already. So let's just do what we need to do. Let's set this guy to async. Delete mess. So what is it? I call it remove collection doc. We know our collections message info. ASS AG info. No, what's it's message collection. We have an ID. But here we need it to be a string, so we're just going to do, I think I can do, I'm just going to be lazy and just do an ID plus, which will convert it to a string, and then that should do it, and then we will return and do an await. Looks like I don't need a return here because there's no brackets used. What did I just do? That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do delete message. So let's change this to delete message. And let's change this to get message for now. Okay, so this will delete. Let's see if we can get it to delete a message. So let's delete this guy. Testing Firebase. Delete message. Message deleted successfully, but it didn't get updated. So we're going to have to force an update at the end here. But if I refresh, you can see the message is gone. If we had more time, I would make this a little bit more reactive so that after the object was removed, it would kind of update automatically. But for now, what we're going to do after we get it removed, we're just going to do a get messages again. And let's see if that gives us the behavior we want. Can I use keyword? All right, sorry. Put this guy in a function. And now you can see it cleaned it up after it, because I said reload the messages after delete, it removed our message. Okay, and now so we have the add message, we have the delete message, and then now the last one we need to do is a get message, and there's another helper function I have, which allows you to get a collection document. And that's what we're going to use to get the message. So let's go up here underneath the Firebase stuff. Let's remove, and here's the last one. Get collection doc. And we're going to follow the exact same pattern. Get collection doc. And then to get the document, I keep overwriting the wrong function. That's gets message, get collection doc, get messages, get message. There's where we want to be. And then we pass it a collection. Is we can just take this exact code here. Set this to async. And then get my messages. Okay, so let's start at the top. Let's add a message. All right, user input saved. Why is my guy not showing? Get message. Why did get message not update things? Let's try again. Just put any kind of data we want to put in here. Anything. Okay, why is this not triggering the update that we want? Because we know it's there after I do the pull to refresh. Okay, well, let's see what's going on. So get messages. Well, let's see something. Why is it delete updating it properly? Right, let's see, what am I doing inside of home view? When I delete the message, it's working fine. So get messages, this display messages. Oh, I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong. Okay. Complaining about failure check promise expected object got boolean with value true. Okay, that's okay. So where am I? So after I get messages, my messages has a value. At startup, I call get messages. Let's do this. Get that out of there. All right. And then here, why is it saying messages is Boolean? Let's see. So who's setting messages? Get data collection. I think I know it's wrong. So in my get messages, get data collection returns true or false. That's the error. So I shouldn't be looking at that. Get data collection returns the results, which is the results from my snapshot. And so get messages returns the correct value. Somewhere why is this thing think it's getting a Boolean? Computer property display messages is read only. Okay. Invalid prop check message. Valid failed for prop messages. Expected object got Boolean with value false. Where did I go wrong here? Right? What did it say? Add message needed, get message. Oh, is that what it is? Get message, delete message. Ah, thank you. You're right. That's why that wasn't working. But now, oh, so all that, thanks in you. So that means all the other stuff I'm doing I didn't need to do. Let me roll this back and see if my life gets better. Remove this computed. I'm still setting it down here at the bottom. Okay, and so add message from Nuno. Thank you for the help. Help me. Data. Let me get this common stuff out of the bottom. Oof. March. Thanks, man. No, it's still not adding it. Let's try it again. Not forget to return. Where? Let me see. Message CS. What is? Oh, thank you. Thank you again. And I think that was a problem. So if everything works right, then this should be returned true. All right. I think you got me right. I think you got me this time. Thanks, Nuno. All right. Nuno did it again. There you go. There you go. So we have the add working. We have the delete working with it closing the menu item. Like I said, we're at an hour and change now. I was going to try and get edited in, but I'm losing my voice and I don't feel well that much today anyway. And I think there's a lot to go on here with the way that I've implemented. And actually, without saying it, this is basically what a view composable is. It's really just a way to create objects that have reactivity that you can utilize to manage state and gives you a separation of concerns. So I didn't really get into kind of how we could have utilized the loading because this loading is getting set to true and false. So theoretically, actually, let's just quickly do that. I'm getting back from messages loading also, right? I believe I am. Data messages declares loading locally, but is not exported. Let's go to messages and let's export const loading. Right, so now that loading is exported, what we can do is we can use it here inside of my template, I believe. So what we can do is we can go up to the top of my template here and we can say ion loading. I think it is open. I'll check. And then we can set this to loading. And then I believe it's message. And we can say loading. So this can't be is open. It must be something else or else it would have showed up. So what is it? Duration enter message mode. Message spinner key. What the hell is it? Animated backdrop enter duration. Let me just look at the doc. Loading. It is open. So is open. So we can just, so now we can go to our loading at the beginning. Where did it go? Where did it go? Loading is open. Ion loading. Let's add our ion loading. Sorry. Let's add our ion loading. Down here on the imports. We do need our loading there. And then where are my components? Oh, I keep forgetting they're down at the bottom. Add my ion loading. Now, where I saw an error, we got some errors up top here. Slot loading. Property loading does not exist on type component. Yeah, it does. It's, oh, I got to return loading. I think on this one I am gonna have to do computed. And so then now we'll take our is loading and we should be able to put our is loading up here at the top. Where did it go? Where's my loading? There. There is loading is defined but never used. Is loading. Did I do computed? Nope. All right. That's what it is. See, so now we have our little loading guy going on here. Question is, why is loading not returning to false? So somewhere I'm loading and I'm not setting it back to false. So let's take a look inside of my messages and see where it is. Loading value false, and get data collection. Loading value false, loading true, loading false, loading false. Why is my loading not going away? Let's see. Let's do it this. Return loading and let's do this. Loading value. All right. So remember, this loading is a reference, and so to get the true value of it, you have to go down and say value. Before, since I was passing it straight out to the template would unwrap it. But since I'm using it here inside of a computed, I need to unwrap it to get the value and pass the appropriate value back. So actually, you can even see how the loading's showing there now. So since I pushed all of this, the state information about whether it's loading or error down inside of my messages service, I don't need to create these checks for whether it's loading everywhere. So now, either when I'm starting the app up and it loads, or when I'm doing a refresh and it loads, I get my message displayed for me automatically. So I'm going to wrap it there because, as I said, I'm not feeling that well today, and I think we have been going for, let's see how long we've been going for. We've been going for about an hour, 20 minutes now. And after 3 days of going for over an hour of talking about Ionic and Vue, my throat is kind of choked. So I hope you guys found this helpful. The source code will get posted along with this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave open issues and leave comments in the GitHub repo. Also, please leave suggestions on other content you wanted to see. Kind of this was just something that I wanted to do, to start to get in the hang of live streaming. Also, I saw that people said they wanted to see more Ionic Vue content. I tried my best to use as little bit of TypeScript as possible, and to also kind of show you how to do this using the old Vue way, since it seems that people are more comfortable with that. If folks want to see some more stuff that's done using kind of the setup approach with heavy TypeScript, I'm happy to do that also. As you saw from me trying to use the refs, I'm way more comfortable doing it with that approach, because that's what I've been doing kind of since the early betas of Vue 3. But you know, my goal here with the YouTube content and stuff is to kind of get more people comfortable. So, you know, let's stick with the old way as long as people like it, and as people get more comfortable, we'll show you the TypeScript way. As I said in my other video, TypeScript is pretty powerful once you get comfortable with it. It saves you from a lot of errors that you probably wouldn't spot just by eyeballing your code. So I encourage you, once you kind of get your arms wrapped around Ionic and wrapped around Vue, that you should definitely slowly start to figure out ways to integrate TypeScript. And as you saw from what I was doing here in my messages component, I mean, you can get around it by just using any, everywhere, and anywhere. It's not really the best approach, but it can get you past it. So if you see some TypeScript code, or if you're running into problems with some TypeScript code that you're trying to utilize, and it doesn't understand a type, just throw the any in there and just keep it moving. So once again, this is where I'm going to end it. Thanks everyone for listening, and for those of you guys who came along for all 3 days, thanks for the ride. I think I have the information on people that showed up, so I got to see if I'm going to do something special for you guys, either around the pricing for my book or the pricing for my course. The other thing soon too is I got a whole bunch of t-shirts left over from the Futures Written in Code. I'm going to try to figure out how to start give out as prizes and things like that for my subscribers that stick around and enjoy my content. And thanks you guys. Enjoy your day, and for those here in America, you know, enjoy your Martin Luther King Day. This was kind of my giving day. My service was kind of just spending my time sharing information about building solutions with Ionic Framework and VueJS. So thanks a lot. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye now.